going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Dairyland Drive podcast with the crew, Collin, Mike, and Riley. We got a lot to talk about. It has been some time. We, as in me, have been battling technology a couple times here in the last few weeks or so of just getting the damn podcast recorded and up. Hopefully I have a primary plan, a backup plan, audio. We got freaking AI chatbot Craig recording the backup audio as well. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Recording this on a Wednesday. Hopefully everyone will be able to tune in to Spotify, Apple, YouTube tomorrow on Thursday to listen to this episode. But boys, a lot to talk about since I know we've kind of done some episodes here the last few weeks. But Goody did his, if you want to call it, end of the season wrap or off season preview presser. We'll kind of get to that if there was any big takeaways, and then the coaching staff obviously is starting to come together as guys are leaving, guys are coming in. Obviously, the big fish that we've tried to talk about a couple times, Jonathan Gannon. We'll get to him leading the defensive side of the ball, but let's start the opening drive. We got to talk about Goody. Any big takeaways from the presser, or was this pretty much just Goody blowing smoke like always to you? Or did you have anything that you took away that maybe surprised you or that stood out to you if you got a chance to maybe not listen to the presser, but just maybe see some of the notes or some of like his quotes or things that he talked about? Were there anything for Packer fans to take away from that today, or is that just kind of he had to make an appearance? Since he really hasn't, since his extension, I guess, has officially been made or made official. What was kind of your guys' takeaway from his presser today?
So I briefly saw a couple notes on it. The one thing that stuck out to me was that he said he expects Rashawn Gary to be back.
Oh.
And I really hope that he is just blowing smoke on that one because I suspect a lot of people in Packer fandom do not want Rashawn Gary back, even if it is on a restructured deal or a pay cut. I never need to see Rashawn Gary in a Packer uniform again. So I don't really take away a lot from what Brian Gutekunst ever says. I feel like a lot of it is just front office speak, coach speak, lip service, what have you. It's just his required talking time to fulfill whatever he has to do, and he'll say a lot without really saying anything. Basically, is what he's going to try to do. So yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing I hope or I took away from it. I mean, in the past, he's talked about how, like Aaron Jones was the heartbeat of the team or whatever, and then a little while later ended up cutting him when he signed Josh Shakeups. We've heard him talk about how he sees Quay Walker being a long-term player in Green Bay. Well, he hasn't gotten an extension because they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. So that was kind of the biggest thing for me was the Rashawn Gary point, which I hope he's just blowing smoke out. But other than that, I'm not really putting too much stock in whatever Goody says.
Yeah, like what Mike said, a lot of smoke. He's really good at that. The only thing that stuck out to me, because I think it was actually a slip up for what we've heard Goody be like for the last 4, 5, 6 years, is that he literally admitted, or in his opinion, said that he basically said like Jordan Morgan should have. We kind of screwed him over. He definitely should have stayed at left tackle. He's probably a starting left tackle. And then he kind of backtracked. He's like, "Well, we're still going to be like versatile with him." It's like, to me, that tells me that's all coaching of them fucking around with Jordan Morgan. I don't think he's, for him to actually say that, because he's never, so like he just said the Aaron Jones thing. For him to actually like point out like where they kind of made a mistake as an organization tells me that he was not in favor of it. So you'd be a little optimistic that the O-line coach situation, maybe something changes there, blah, 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 whoever's idea that was. But how quiet, not quiet, but how many words he says, but is quiet at the same time. The fact that he actually pointed that out specifically, I thought was a big deal, that he obviously sees Jordan Morgan as the left tackle.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. I think was it something like he did enough to win the job in training camp, but they had to go another direction because of injuries or something like that, or how it played out. So, I thought that was interesting. I think along with Rashawn Gary, I think he said everyone under contract he expects to be back for next season,
Yeah.
at least. So that's obviously a couple other guys that we'll get to later on as well of how truthful is that. For any of you Packer fans that are listening, I know there are some. If you got your pitchforks ready to get Rick Bisaccia out of Ashwaubenon, Green Bay, wherever he resides, it doesn't really sound too good that that's going to be happening. But he basically a vote of confidence from Goody with kind of full-fledged support of believing him and him kind of being the guy. And interesting how he thought they put a lot of resources and a lot of time into improving special teams these last several years. And then I just love the point blank of the reporters have to ask about like the extension, and he just like can't talk about it, like can't talk about the length and all that stuff. But it was a solid try for the reporters to at least try to get it out of him. But yeah, a lot of smoke. Gonna be interesting. I think he made it pretty clear of we'll see kind of what the roster does look like. And you know, he loves his guys. He loves his guys that he brings in, and he will live and die on that sword of, specifically the cornerback room. I think there was a quote, something about he doesn't see any wholesale changes in his opinion in the quarterback room, singling out both Keyshawn and Valentine, saying that he thought they played well overall this past season. So I think, like I said, a lot of smoke. We'll see how much of that is true, and what changes we do get to. But kind of add on to that before we get to this coaching staff stuff. The cap is rising. Was it like over $20 million that it's rising next year? How
Like, it was like 25.
25? Does that mean anything for the Packers?
Projected, yes.
Does that mean anything for the
I don't
Packers? You
know.
think, or do you think how? I mean, we can get to it in a little bit, or I mean, it just gives them maybe a little bit of breathing room potentially to do something. But yeah, I think that's going to be fascinating. I don't know. I guess I didn't pay attention if that was expected to be that much of an increase, or I know it's been kind of that trajectory. It seems like the last like few years of that increase, but I would have to imagine that's kind of a somewhat pleasant surprise to have a little bit of cushion to improve the roster. But well, we'll see what happens, and we'll have many podcast episodes to kind of break down this roster and what we think the Packers can add to it. But coaching staff, got to talk about it. Starting to take place a little bit, especially the defensive side of the ball. We might have to re-record your guys' thoughts on Jonathan Gannon for like the third time here that we try to get this posted. But in addition to that, he's starting to bring in some of his own guys. I know last week's episode that we tried to record, we talked about Bobby Dabbich and how important that is. Really cool local hiring, Sam Seifkes from UW Lacrosse. Actually was on the coaching staff with Joel Detweiler when I helped with all the video stuff, all 3 or 4 of the years. So I actually got to know him quite a bit and be around him quite a bit. My favorite things about him, high energy, and he talks shit about Detweiler like all the time. So just, he was a down to earth and like I said, I mean, obviously at that time that was 10 years ago. So I'm sure he's kind of the similar energy, but seems like we're starting to get a little bit
What
of
did he coach
experience
back then?
defensive side as well. So I think he was helping either with linebackers or with EBs back then. So always been on the defensive side. I guess I didn't ever pay attention to his like path to even like being the defensive coordinator. Was at West Virginia last year, and then obviously being under Jonathan Gannon a couple years for the Cardinals. So kind of cool. Just the 10 years has flown by and kind of all the stops that he's made and places that he's gone to. But overall, are you kind of starting to, I guess, just what is your thoughts of this coaching staff kind of getting put together on mainly the defensive side, but just kind of overall, are you still kind of in the same boat of wait and see what the final product looks like? Are you starting to get a little bit more excited and optimistic of what Gannon can do and some of the guys he's bringing in, or are we just kind of sitting and waiting in the same spot that we have been since this first big, announcement was hired with Gannon and what he's done so far?
I'm still wait and see um, with Gannon and his staff. I mean, they've talked about how he has mentioned that he doesn't really have a scheme. I think he's run like 3-4 base, 4-3 base. Sounds like it's all kind of personnel driven. Um, I mean, I've said it before. I don't really care who is the defensive coordinator as much as I care about players on the field. We saw what the defensive line was like, especially without Micah Parsons last year, and you probably won't be able to count on him for the first quarter of the season this next year. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out of the gate to start the season next year, and then going along with that, without any pressure up front from the line, we saw how much the defensive backs suffered back there with Nixon and Valentine and whatnot. Um, so it'll be interesting to see if coaching uh, helps with that at all, if scheme change helps with that at all, how he adjusts to time without Micah for those first 4 weeks, what different players up front look like. Doesn't sound like what Goody said today. There's going to be much change in the defensive secondary, so that'll be interesting to see. So all that being said, I'm still very much wait and see to see how this turns out.
Yeah, it's very much a wait and see for all the things that Mike just said. To me, the thing that I'm looking forward to is just what Gannon and Babich, even he's going to be the pass or defensive pass game coordinator. Like, just they're known for like their communication and like their secondaries like don't mess up. And I feel like for years that's been a Packers issue, is just like blown coverages, middle of like going back to the playoff game against the Bears. How many times was Colston Loveland wide open over the middle because there was secondary linebackers, whatever, um, didn't drop. It seems like LaFleur is putting all his eggs in a smart defensive staff, so they just have less small fuck ups. I mean, I talked about run game fits going back to that Ravens game. Like they didn't even line right majority of the time. So overall, I think he's trying to make the defense smarter, and I think he's obviously going to be like he's saying, like basically saying, like I'm going to be completely hands off and just worry about the offense. So I guess that's, in my opinion, a good thing as well. So very much wait and see what personnel Goody gives him, adds in the draft. I'm sure he'll sign somebody in free agency, whether it's anybody that we actually want. Just like last year, we didn't see Aaron Banks or Nate Hobbs coming. Neither of them really worked out, but he's obviously showing that he'll spend on somebody who knows what it is, if it's offense or defense, and if it'll work out. But see the personnel, and then just yeah, I just want to see the overall like intelligence level from what I'm seeing like rise, just like less major fun. Like you're gonna mess up. I get that, miss a line, whatever. Somebody's gonna miss an assignment, but I just feel like it happened like 5, 6, 8 times a game, and like just guys wide open. So I just want to see an improvement in that.
And for all those Packer fans, and again, we don't really know what Gannon's going to do, right? Because he has different kind of schemes that he has used at multiple stops, and he's been kind of, the flexibility and just kind of what the personnel he has with. I know we've seen 3-4, 4-3, but mainly for you, Riley, for those Packer fans that are wanting more aggression and sick of this dinking and dunking and giving up those long 12, 15 play drives. Is that Gannon, or is it going to be a lot of the same that we're going to see that we've seen these last couple of years under Hafley?
He has been probably the most unaggressive defensive coordinator in the last 7 or 8 years. So no, you're going to see a lot of the same. He's known for his quarters coverage, matching everything, giving up underneath, bend but not break, depending on his pass rush. So it's just like last year. It's going to be all the pressure on Micah to do it by himself, or hopefully Van Ness can stay healthy, take the next step, Devontae Wyatt, whoever, if they sign somebody else, who knows. But yeah, I mean, traditionally, he can blitz. He has blitz. He's more of an early down blitzer, the opposite of Hafley, where Hafley would shift it in coverage first and second down. And if he was going to blitz, it'd be third down. Gannon traditionally has been blitz on first down, try to get him behind the chains, and then play safe on second and third down. That's his thing. Quarters coverage, cover four, whatever you want to call it. Give up the short stuff, rally up. So yeah, I would say if you want aggression, it's not going to happen. It's very, very, very similar to what Hafley was already doing, just maybe a little bit tweaks here and there, whereas Hafley was more, like I said, blitz on third down or cover three or cover two, which Gannon will, but he's a cover four guy. That's his thing.
The one thing I do want to wrap up on the defensive side of the ball with that I like, I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt. I think we all agree that, yes, LaFleur has struggled at times, but he is a pretty bright offensive mind overall. He has, like, single-handedly said how tough it is to, prepare and go against a Gannon defense just with the different looks and things that he shows. So that is something, that I'm sure that he kind of, took to heart as well during that hiring process. Real quick before we move forward to 3 and out, are you surprised at all of what's happened on the offensive side of the ball in terms of the coaching staff? And when I say that, pretty much just the guys that we maybe thought that they would lose or leaving some of these young guys, but really no big changes. Like Stenavich seems like he's gonna be back. Like there might be an opportunity. I think I saw with maybe the Raiders, depending on who or wherever Kubiak ended up. If potentially he goes there, I don't see it happening. But for the most part, it seems like Stenavich is going to be back. Butkus, for the most part, at least now, we've been doing this for a few weeks now. He's still with the Packers as far as we know. Are you surprised at all that there hasn't really been any changes, like necessary changes maybe on the offensive side of the ball than what we've had, or is this kind of what to be expected just with what we know of the Packers and LaFleur of how he kind of builds that side up?
No, I think he likes his consistency, and he won't fire guys unless he absolutely has to. I think in terms of the offensive line, I mean, outside of last year, I think the offensive line's been pretty solid. With Butkus, I think he's been there 3 years now. First couple years, I think they were pretty solid. Last year was not as great. I mean, they shuffled people around. There were injuries, so maybe he's hoping this year will be better. Hopefully, they'll stop shuffling people around and people stay a little bit healthier and guys will improve, such as Belton and Morgan in particular. So for me, not surprising at all. It'd be interesting to see where they go quarterback coach wise. So.
Yeah, say not surprising at all. I mean, if Bisaccia still has a job, like LaFleur is obviously not going to fire anybody because there's nothing else to really say. But like I said, I'm still slightly optimistic they'll do something. I mean, maybe Butkus won't be gone, but maybe bring in another assistant offensive line coach. I don't know, just based on Goody's comments, because I feel like he kind of, and just saying that to me that's just not something Goody does unless he actually feels pretty strong about it. It's not something that he believed in, or he obviously believes in his talent. Quarterback coach, we'll see, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really matters that much with how much LaFleur spends with the quarterbacks as well. So, Stenavich, the only thing, like I said, you said Raiders with Kubiak, maybe he could also replace Kubiak, go out to Seattle because he was one of their top 3 finalists last year to be the OC, but they obviously went with Kubiak, which worked out well. So I'm sure once the Super Bowl is over on Sunday, we'll definitely hear, I would say definitely, but very likely we will hear that Stenavich is probably getting interviewed out there for that, at least. Don't know what'll happen, but that's another possibility.
All right, yeah, a couple more spots to fill up on the coaching staff, and see how the Super Bowl plays out. But yeah, all right. Well, that's kind of our quick recap of the latest news, Packer-wise, with the Goody presser and then some of these coaching staff changes. But it is now time for an extended version of 3 and Out. It's not a quick 3 and Out. This is going to be an extended version of 3 and Out. Some fun segments to get to. We're going to start on first down. We're going to call this segment Resign or Walk. And these are currently free agents that we think or what we would do if we were the Packers, not what you think the Packers would do, what you would do personally. Got 5 free agents listed on here, 3 on the offensive side of the ball, 2 of the defensive side of the ball. We will go around in a quick 15, 20, 30 seconds of what you would do and why, and we're going to start with Rasheed Walker, the left tackle. Would you try to resign and bring him back, or are you going to let Rasheed walk?
I'm letting Walker walk. Gotta get Jordan Morgan in. You gotta get Jordan Morgan in at left tackle. That's what he was drafted for. You gotta give him the chance. They're not going to give Rasheed Walker what he's going to get on the open market. Yeah, I mean he's been fine. He's been a starting caliber left tackle, but when you've had all pros like Chad Clifton and David Bakhtiari at left tackle, you expect higher, and you want to see if Jordan Morgan can get there with his first round pedigree.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna let him walk. It's Jordan Morgan's time. My rookie deal, 3 years of really, really cheap money if you want to give him his 5th-year options. So yeah, I'm letting Walker go.
Yeah, not sure. I think obviously he's got the legal stuff going on too. I haven't really paid attention too much if it's all got settled. But obviously
I don't put any stock in that.
Off the
I don't
field
think it
stuff.
matters to anybody.
For the Packers, it might matter in terms of bringing him back or not. But all right, okay. I think that almost just put the nail in the coffin. So I think there was a very little chance that they were going to bring him back. I think that made it easier to kind of let him hit the open market and walk out the door. But all right, let's stay on the offensive line. Sean Ryan, who's been kind of a depth piece for the most part. He's been one of those players that's been shifted around at guard and then moved to center when Elton Jenkins got hurt. Was good, solid. I think an upgrade from Jenkins, just in terms of, I think, just overall performance, especially on the run side. So Sean Ryan, are you re-signing him, or are you letting Sean Ryan walk and hit free agency?
I'm bringing him back. Don't know what you really have in Jacob Monk, who I think would be the backup center. Had a really poor training camp last year. Wasn't impressive. Sounds like the draft class this year is also very unimpressive, just what I've read and heard so far. So you're probably not getting a starting center out of there right away. I don't know, like Tyler Linderbaum. I think he's a free agent out of Baltimore. He's probably going to be too rich for the Packers' blood. So I don't think he's going to be an option in free agency. I would try to bring Sean Ryan back because he knows the system. Like you said, they upgraded a little bit when he moved to center. Strong, better run blocker than pass blocker, and we know LaFleur wants to run the ball. So I would try to bring him back.
Yeah, he was definitely a pleasant surprise of the depth piece. I'd try to bring him back, obviously, as long as nobody else is going to try to pay him decent starter money. Otherwise, he's probably not worth it. He's a great backup at center, great backup at guard. And he has to play at center next year. They do re-sign him. They don't have any other options. They don't draft anybody. They don't sign anybody. I'm not totally against that either. So, yeah, I think as long as you obviously don't have to battle for him with another team, somebody you definitely want to bring back into the building.
All right, I think we're all on the same page here for the first two. Letting Walker walk, bring Sean Ryan back if the price is right. Let's do our last offensive player. This is Riley's guy, Romeo Doubs. What do you do, Riley? Do you try to bring him back, or do you let him walk?
I personally would want to bring him back, but at the same time, it's just not a smart business move. So no, I'm going to let him walk. You have too many other receivers that are on cheaper deals. Let it prove. They kind of obviously said they're going to choose to give Christian Watson that extension in the same class. We still have Jayden Reed. You have Matthew Golden, see more of him. Dontavian Wicks is still there. Savion Williams. And just like the Packers do, I'm sure they'll always draft somebody this year to add to the room as well. Oh, as much as I love Romeo, you got to let him walk. He's a good receiver. Somebody's going to pay him. Going to be way, way, way more than what the Packers want to pay him to keep him around for a what he gets. So he'll get money out there. So much as I like him, I'm gonna have to let him walk just because with what else like the room's too stacked. We complained all this last season about guys not getting touches, like they're just wasting away. So you got to see what they are at some point in time. So you got to let them walk.
Yep, totally agree with everything Riley just said. I have nothing to add to that.
Yeah, and I think the big point is let's see what we have in some of these younger guys, specifically Matthew Golden, who showed a little bit of flashes, which also was singled out today in Goody's presser of how he thought he was excellent this past year, which I thought was a little kind of funny and interesting quote for him to say. But yeah, I think we have to let Romeo walk. I think if they really wanted him back, truly, they would have probably got an extension done, either earlier this season when he was on, his heater or, prior to this season. But, okay, we're 3 for 3 so far. Let's go to the other side of the ball. 2 players starting up front. Kingsley Enagbari, coming off maybe his just like best overall season of his career so far, I think, just how he worked himself up the depth chart. And, once Parsons went down, he was arguably our most important kind of outside, edge rusher, outside defensive lineman. So do you try to bring Kingsley Enagbari back, or do you let him walk and hit the open market?
I'd try to bring him back if the price is right, if he doesn't find what he likes out on the market. Outside of Micah Parsons, I don't feel like there's truly any other edge rusher on this team that's like a true number 2 that you can just stick out there and keep him out there. It feels like everyone's kind of a rotational player at this point. LVN, Gary, I can't see him coming back. Like, he better not be back. Don't know don't know what you have in Baron Sorrell or Colin Oliver yet. So I think if you have like a top 3 of Parsons, LVN, Enagbare, and then kind of rotate in Sorrell and Oliver behind them to start getting their feet wet, get some more reps. I would try to keep Enagbare for that reason.
Yeah, would love to keep him if you can get that number at 5 or 6 million per year. But I feel like he's really good against the run, and he had flashes last year against certain teams. I feel like somebody's probably gonna pay him just with how important pass rushers, edge guys are in the league with how it is now. So I'm going to say let him walk just because of what I think his number is going to be. I think, like I said, if you can keep him at 5 or 6 million, if he wants to stay and he'll take that little bit of a discount, I would say, yeah, bring him back. But he's not like a northern Midwest guy. He's from the South. I'm assuming he would love to get back down there anywhere, offer more money, warmer weather. So I think somebody will pay him. So I think the Packers would have to let him walk. They're not going to match the number I think he might demand.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that have a lot more money to spend, I think, this offseason compared to the Packers. And you mentioned the edge rushers are a premium, and if you are really good against the run and give you anything, at least a few sacks a year, teams are going to overspend on that. So I probably let them walk because I think you do have these young guys. I think you have to let the young guys play to an extent. I think that's what it's going to be the first 4 weeks or so, whatever Parsons is out, and see what you really have. And then hopefully once Parsons is back, it's full all gas, no brakes. I'll throw that quote in there as well, at least on that side of the ball up front there. But yeah, I think you let him walk. But yeah, obviously if it's in that range, I just don't see it happening either. But okay, could start with Riley on this one as well. We talked about his guy earlier on the offensive side, Romeo Doubs. This is not his guy. This is a guy that he disliked very much. Quay Walker, inside linebacker, first round draft pick from Georgia. What do you do with Quay? Do you bring him back and re-sign him, or do you let him walk?
Personally, no, I don't care what number it's at. I'm not bringing him back. I don't think he's very good. Obviously, I've made that very clear. Also, just like realistic, like he's a physical specimen. Like everybody knows that. So somebody out there is going to give him money if the Packers are not going to want to pay. You would also think Gannon would probably want to bring in one of his guys that he can communicate with, that he has some history with. So all of those things, just the money he will get, familiarity with Gannon, and just the fact that he is not very good. And like just watch tape. He's not fucking good, like at all. He is definitely letting them walk. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, the walkers are walking. So Quay is also gone. Just way too inconsistent. Few good performances, a lot more bad ones. Um, I'm totally in Bradley's boat here. He's going.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I think it's kind of all three of us. Does he maybe foul halfway down to Miami potentially? I don't know. Maybe see that happening. I think he's going to get paid as well. I think someone's going to pay him, and I guess we'll see what he does. He'll probably go have a career year and just improve drastically somewhere else. But I don't see it being with the Packers. I think they'll roll with the guys they have in that room, and like Riley mentioned, I think they'll try to bring someone in as well. That Gannon trust on that side. So okay. Well, that is first down. That is re-sign or walk the 5 free agents, what we think they should do if we were the Packers. And we're going to keep that train rolling as well. However, not free agents, guys that are under contract for the upcoming 2026 season. We heard in Goody's presser that he expects everyone that is under contract to be back on the roster in 2026. Well, we're going to say if that's bullshit or if we believe him. So this next segment is called Cap Casualty or Restructure. Once again, I have 5 players from all 3 sides of the ball, I guess, offense, defense, and a special teamer. I am going just to give you a little info of this player, of what they're due, what you would potentially save if you did cut them. And I want to know if it is you and you are the Packers, are you going to try to restructure and bring them back on the roster in 2026, or are they going to be one of your cap casualties and get them out the door? All right. And Mike talked about this one quite a bit, so we're going to start with a layup, an easy one right away. We're going to go on the defensive side of the ball. Rashawn Gary. If the Packers cut him, and I believe it is a post-June 1st cut, I'd have to check that. Might even be before. I think it's a post-June 1st cut. They would save $11 million in cap space for next season. So, if you are the Packers, is Rashawn Gary worth that cap hit next season? Do you try to restructure him to a lower cap hit, or do you just let him walk, take that $11 million in cap space, and try to potentially improve your roster elsewhere, or extend maybe some of these other guys that you see in your long-term plans? Mike,
How old is he?
Gary has got to be.
You don't have that.
I don't have that. He's got to be in his late 20s.
Doesn't matter because I think you should be gone anyway. Doesn't matter at what price. You don't need to restructure. I mean, I guess if you can get him like to take a massive pay cut, sure, bring him back, I guess, as a depth piece, because that's basically what he is at this. Okay. At this point, he's basically a depth piece, a rotational player, just with the production that he's put up. But I can't imagine he would ever think about doing that because someone out there, I have to imagine, would pay a significantly higher price than that. So for me, it's easy. He's cap casualty for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely got to cut him. Cap casualty, save that money. Like Mike said, if you can give him a restructure for something really low, sure. But why would he ever do that when he's supposed to make 20 whatever $million? He's not gonna fucking hurt. Just take my money. He's not gonna happen. So he's got to be gone. You got to cut him. He doesn't produce. He hasn't produced. So yeah, bye.
Yeah, and just the effort too. Like how many times did we see just like a lack of effort of like just pursuit of the ball like on the other side, and then the snap count just went down drastically towards the end of the year when they needed him most to step up. So yeah, I think unfortunately, this is the easiest. Well, one of the easiest. Well, we'll maybe get to another one here potentially as well, but I think this is one of the easier decisions. Save that cap space, and I think you can improve your roster. Maybe in that room or in the room right next to you on the defensive tackle, or just improve your roster overall to make it better. So, all right, we're all on the same page there. Here's the other one that we've heard a lot about, and maybe arguably one of the easier decisions, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Of course, that is Elton Jenkins. The longtime Packer has been awesome at left guard for a majority of his career. One of the better ones in the league that you could say, however, moved over to center this year. Did not go so well. I don't know the exact rankings if you look at like PFF and all that, but he was definitely in the bottom third of centers, like overall when he was on the field. If you cut Mr. Elton Jenkins, you are saving $20 million in cap space for next year. This is why there was the big gripe with him and the Packers going into last offseason, because he potentially saw this happening, even if he had a good season. But is this one a slam dunk? Is Mr. Elton Jenkins going to be a cap casualty, or do you try to have another conversation with him and try to restructure and get him back?
Yeah. He's, I think, 30 now. He's on the wrong side of 30 at this point. His play has been declining the last couple of years. Yeah, this one's an easy for me. Deuces, brother.
Yeah, definite, like 100% cap casualty. Old, often injured, play in the field going down. Just just does not fit what the Packers do or what Goody's shown to do. Once you hit that 30 mark, he kind of, no matter who you are, kind of says, "See you later, dude." So he's definitely a cap casualty.
Real quick, I got to throw in the what if, just because that's just what we do on podcasts. What if Elton Jenkins, the move to center, was a slam dunk and he just had the best year of his career, Pro Bowl or potentially All Pro? Do you guys still have the same decision, just knowing that it's saving $20 million for next year in his age? Are you still kind of in the same boat, or does that change your mind at all if that would have potentially happened?
I think they might look at restructuring, but I'd say he more than likely he's still a cap casualty.
Yeah. Okay.
No center, unless you're the best center in the existence of mankind playing football, is worth 20 something million dollars.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I think we're all on the same page there. That saves you $31 million in cap space right there. I don't know what they're currently at. I should have looked at. Didn't do my full research, I guess.
Negative 4 million.
Negative 4 million. So that gets you in the positive, along with the raise in the salary cap as well. So that at least gives you something to work with potentially. This one's interesting, because I know a lot of Packer fans are going to say, get him the hell out of Green Bay. Other ones are going to say he wasn't healthy. He didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. He has been reliable. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Brandon McManus. He is due a $1 million roster bonus on March 13th. So, simple. If you cut him, you would save $1 million in cap space. If you think about that in terms of kickers, I don't know what the average kicker makes across the league, but I'm sure it's on the lower ends of millions. Do you bring Brandon McManus back just as is? You obviously, I don't think you try to restructure that whatsoever in the little one. But do you bring him back, or do you cut bait with him as a cap casualty and bring someone else in that room for competition next year?
No, I'm keeping him, dude. I saw what the Packers went through for 2 years with kickers. I am chalking up his struggles in there in the season to mainly injuries, couple not like the block in Dallas. I know they've talked about like they didn't have the right personnel on the line. That's when they brought in like the starting offensive lineman to protect on field goal kick. And after that they were just fine. I'm gonna chalk up the majority of his misses to injury, coming back too soon, what have you. I think he's been pretty good when he is healthy. I don't want to go through another Braden Narvison. Who is the other dude? Carlson. I don't want to go through that again. So give me McManus, give me the guy who's been the sure thing, albeit from a little bit of a stretch. I mean, we saw like what Mason Crosby did in like 2012, right? Like he struggled mightily, then he came back and had another few good seasons. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, give him another chance, leave his contract as is.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him back. It's kind of like what we talked about in regards to like LaFleur being the head coach. Like, who are you gonna get that's better, even if you do get rid of him? Same thing here. It's like I haven't studied like the free agency kicker room or who's going to get re-signed or isn't. So unless there's a stud out there that I don't know, because like I said, I haven't looked. Like you just got to bring them back, but they better bring in real competition. It can't be fucking Alex Hale for the international fucking blah 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 bullshit to check a list. I think you literally whoever you think has the most potential in the draft. Like I think you spend a 6 on a fucking kicker and you fucking put the heat on him, and it is what it is. Like McManus is not young. We don't know. Like we're assuming he's going to bounce back, and that was just a fluke last year. But those two things, like you got to bring in somebody young, or you got to bring in somebody off the street that's actually like younger and has like shown that he can actually be productive. So yeah, that's all. I mean, I think you got to bring him back, like I said. But there better be real competition. I don't care if it's through the draft or off the streets of somebody real. I don't want some no name person that nobody's ever fucking heard of. But I'm really on the boat of I hope they spend a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick on somebody they think has a lot of potential and see what happens.
I agree. I think you bring him back, but yeah, I think that the competition aspect is big, and yes, I want it to be legit as well. And like it's crazy to think like going into the season or not even going to the season training camp, like he was awesome. Like he barely missed a kick in training camp, and then obviously the wheels just kind of fell off with the injuries and just kind of how that all was handled. So I don't think we're asking him to be like 24, 25-year-old Brandon McManus, right? Like in like that poor. I think we're just asking him just to be like good. Make your freaking extra points and make, the slam dunk field goals you should, and don't kick the fucking ball out of bounds on kickoff, right? Like those are the 3 big things that we're asking him to do, and just be consistent with it. But yeah, I think they bring him back. And yes, let's cross our fingers that he does bounce back, and that doesn't be a key factor of a Packers collapse in any capacity next year. Well, we're going to manifest it into the world right now. Okay, that's 3 of the 5. So now we got to do the 2 free agents that we brought in last offseason. Riley name dropped him earlier in this segment. We're going to start with Mr. Nate Hobbs. ILLINI. Just wasn't good this last year. For the most part, he couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay on the field. Do you cut bait with him just after 1 year? Cut your losses. He is due a $6.25 million roster bonus on March 13th. However, you would only save just under $1 million of cap space. So if you're cutting him, you're pretty much just cutting bait with him to get him off the roster and kind of, I guess, maybe improve that room a little bit of what you want to look like. But what are you doing with Nate Hobbs? Do you want him on the team for 2026? He has said that he is confident that he's going to bounce back. He's confident that he's going to have the best season of his career. I think he's said in a couple locker room quotes. Do you believe him? Do you believe him and want him on the team in the Packers in 2026?
So the cap savings, is that just for this year, or is that like for the rest of his contract? Like
Just off of this next
what's the
year.
dead cap? What's the dead cap hit, you know?
Nate Hobbs contract dead cap. Well, you just keep your thought going. I'll try to get you some info.
All right. I'm leaning toward getting rid of him.
$12 million $12 million dead cap hit in 2026 if the Packers release him. You would only save about $838,000. So he has a total cap hit of $12.8 million.
Oh, God. I really want to get rid of him, dude. I just feel I'm kind of like in the camp of if you sign a player in free agency, kind of a big contract, and it just goes to shit that first year. It doesn't work out. Like, what are the chances they're gonna rebound in such a huge way the next year? Whether it be injury wise or their play bounces back to be like an all pro, worth the money. I don't know. I just don't see it. I say cut your losses, get rid of them.
I will add this real quick too. For 2027 and 2028, the remainder of his contract, if you did release him this year, it would clear his 2027 cap space of 14.1 million, and 2028 is 14.7 as well. So not a ton in 2026, but that's over $14 million those 2 years. So just want to throw that in there if that helps your decision.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like the cap numbers that are going to be coming down the pipeline with Jordan Love. I almost said Jordan Morgan, Jordan Love, and Mike Parsons. Um, get rid of them. Try to get a younger player in there, so you can develop them. I'm cutting bait.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep him. I think he actually fits really well with like the style of defense Gannon wants to run. That's what he excelled at in Oakland, is sitting back and coming up, because he's a physical tackler. He showed that if he can stay healthy. I think he much better fits this defense if how Gannon's gonna play than Valentine. Valentine does not fit this style at all. Valentine, I'd be shocked if Valentine even plays much. Like, he's just does not fit with what Gannon wants to do, because he does not want to tackle anybody. And I think saving 14 million, yeah, like that. I think with the way the salary cap keeps going, I think that's going to be a very, 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 very low quarterback number, and not going to seem like a big deal after you see the numbers that corners are going to get this year on the market. So I'm going to keep him, see what we got, because that room is fucking terrible, like we've said. Just for lack of options, I think you have to, and just hope he turns out on the outside there. Like, they know what they have, obviously, with Bullard there in the slots. They're not going to fuck around with him in there. He's just going to play outside. So hopefully that clears up everything. He can focus on one thing and be better.
Yeah, no, I was back and forth on this as well, but I think you bring him back just because, like, God, do we want the cornerback room to get even worse if we did let him go? Goody has shown that he doesn't really like to draft corner. I mean, when was the last time he drafted a corner first round? Jair? Like, and how long ago was that? And like 7, 8, I don't even know how long ago that was.
2018.
2018, which doesn't seem like long ago, but it is like 7 years ago at least right now. So I don't know. I know you're going to see all these mock drafts of corners potentially that people are wanting them to improve there. I just don't see it. I don't see it in the first, second, third round, maybe like later on that they have done in the past. But I think there is potential in there with them, and I think hopefully it has a little bit of fire and a little, obviously battling what he had to battle this year, and Packer fans were very loud of their displeasure with him as well. So yeah, maybe a change on the defensive side too will help him out, like Riley mentioned. So I would bring him back, and just like, instead of taking away from the room, let's just like, yes, keep it as it is. It wasn't fantastic, but let's try to just add to it maybe a little bit, and have some of those guys. But it goes to our last one. I think this is going to be the interesting one as well. Mr. Aaron Banks, the guard, which everyone, national media, everyone said that was a huge, huge, huge contract and potentially overpay in the time that the Packers signed him. He is due a $9.5 million roster bonus on March 13th. His cap, I believe, is $20,250,000. So $20.2 million is his dead cap in 2026. If you would cut him pre-June 1st, you would be saving just over $4.5 million. So his total 2026 cap hit is $24.7 million. So this is a tough one. Maybe, I don't know. What are you doing with Aaron Banks? Are you waving the flag of just giving it a year and moving on, and trying to bring in and kind of just revamp that room, the offensive line room?
I know I just said that kind of in the camp of get rid of a guy if you sign him in free agency and he doesn't pan out that first year. I don't really know what to make of his play. I mean, he was hurt. He was up and down. I mean, not great, but I mean, there were stretches where I guess he was fine. Like he was okay. I just don't know if you get rid of him. Like, who do you replace him with? Like, what's the depth at that position? So, and we know that the interior of the line was kind of the weak point. If you get rid of him, are you getting even weaker? Who are you filling it with? I don't want to bring him back, but I probably am bringing him back just because I don't know what the depth is there right now.
Yeah, I agree. For that exact point, was what I was gonna say is I just don't know who else you're gonna bring. There's nobody in the building. So like we've already talked about Elton Jenkins. Like you're gonna have to bring in basically a whole new center on over because obviously Jordan Morgan's he's not new, but he's gonna be a new left tackle. So unless you really want a new center, new left guard, new left tackle, and you're still hoping that Zach Tom comes back next year after his torn patellar tendon and actually can function, which we don't know if he'll be back to start season or not. That's a very, very weird situation that's not covered very much for some reason. But there seems to be a lot of questions about that. So I think you have to bring him back for what could be like 3/5 new offensive line. So we'll to start the season at least. So yeah, just it's not worth only saving $4 million. So you got to bring him back.
All right, I agree as well. Okay, well, look at us. Look at us agreeing if we were running the show with the Packers, but I think it's going to be all fascinating decisions here because I do think some moves are going to be made. And everything that we just mentioned, the first down with re-sign or walk, and then second down, cap casualty or restructure. And we will be on that here in the coming weeks and months when that news does come out and break it all down for you. But all right, let's go to third down. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Got to talk a little college basketball here. The race is heating up. Mike is still not paying attention because it's not March yet. He's got he at least knows maybe of what's happening. Maybe just talking to us or paying attention to maybe Sports Center, however he gets his sports news. But I think the Big Ten is now down to a 2-team race, in my opinion, of 2 teams that have kind of separated themselves from everyone, and that is Michigan, and that is the Illinois Fighting Illini. Both ranked in the top 5 right now. They get to play each other coming up here very soon in Champaign, which I think is going to be a huge, just huge for Illinois. Place is going to be rocking. But my goodness, is the Big Ten, I think, pretty top heavy and pretty good. Like those are the 2 clear-cut teams, I think, in my opinion right now. But even that next tier of Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan State's losing to Minnesota right now. We're recording this on a Wednesday. They were losing on the road by 10 last time I checked. Wisconsin's been right there. They can beat anyone, but they could also lose to anyone. You got your Iowas, your Indianas, your UCLAs. So I still see 10, 11 teams getting in. But I just want to give a little love to Illinois. I saw before this gauntlet started, I got texted Riley and who the hell made this schedule? 3 straight weekends of going to Purdue, going to Nebraska, and then now going to Michigan State. You can make an argument that those are the 3 toughest places to go to in the Big Ten. And whoever made the Big Ten schedule thought it was a great idea for Illinois to go to those places. 3 straight weekends. However, they are 2/3 of the way through the gauntlet right now and have 2 very big wins against a top 5 Purdue, a top 5 Nebraska. Keaton Wagler, you can't say enough about the dude. 40 plus against Purdue on the road, and then just dropped 28 against Nebraska, 23 in the second half. The dude is a lottery pick. He is. I know I was texting Riley the other day about it of there has never been a freshman in Big Ten history that has won Big Ten Player of the Year. Never. Of all the good players that you can think of in the past history of the Big Ten, there's never been a freshman that has won Big Ten Player of the Year. The more I've looked into it and the more I thought about it, he has to be the front runner right now. I don't know any other argument that can be made of just how important he is to Illinois right now and like what he has taken them to their ceiling. It is crazy. It is crazy what this kid is doing at 18 years old, and like dude just like never changes his face, never changes his composure, doesn't make stupid plays, always makes the right play. It is fun to watch him. Like I loved Io. I loved Kofi. I loved Terrence Shannon Jr. Like Keaton Wagler is making a case of being like my favorite like Illinois player to watch here in like recent memory, and like it just came out of nowhere, came out of left field. Um, so just a real quick update, and it's going to be a like there's still a lot of games left. Like I think every team still has what 7, 8 games left. So like by no means like there's a good chance like the winner could still have a couple losses just of what maybe 2 or 3 losses still after this, but a lot can happen. By no means is it is finished, but I think it's going to be a really fascinating race because there's still like everyone's within like 2 games of Purdue and Illinois still that are still in the thick of things. But Mike, you really haven't paid attention to the Big Ten race at all or any basketball? Haven't flipped your Badgers on a Saturday or Sunday just to have in the background?
No, not really. I do have a college basketball question though.
Yeah.
Is Miami, Ohio legit? Are they going to make noise in March?
They suck. They will lose in the first round.
I guess we'll see. I don't know. It's tough. It's always tough with those like mid-major teams. I don't know, because there's gonna probably like they're gonna be the team that probably gets a lot of like the attention of like the mid-major team to watch, but then it's always gonna be someone that you don't see coming, or so a team that no one ever talks about or doesn't talk about as much that makes a run. Um, I don't know, like legit, what legit means. Will they win the tournament?
Will they get to the second weekend?
I'll say no. I'll say no.
They can score. I mean, they score against MAC team. They give up fucking 80 or 90 against the shitty MAC teams and almost lose every game. They keep winning, but like they don't fucking play any defense. So don't really know how that's going to translate when you actually play teams that are more athletic than you. Probably not well, I would assume. So no, I don't. I watched them play NIU last week. So I'm like, kind of like what you just said. I was like, how good are these guys? NIU's terrible. It was just they're it's not good basketball. Going from watching like Illinois games like that, it's just not even the same. It's bad.
All right. Any insight or anything anyone wants to add? I don't know. I'm starting to build myself up in my head like if Brad doesn't get to the Final Four with this team, I don't know what team he's going to take. Like this team, they're just so good. They're so like elite offensively and can beat you in so many ways, especially if guys are hitting shots. Like, yes, I know that's an easy thing to say, but if they hit shots, like good luck because Wagler's just going to make the right play every time. You know what the crazy thing too is of how like the shift is of college basketball of like running and gunning and spreading and out and all. It's like Illinois is like one of the slowest tempo teams in college basketball right now. Like their tempo is ranked like in the 300s, which is unheard of for like a Brad Underwood. So not only do they take like 25 to 27 seconds every single possession, usually it ends up in points too, and they're getting better defensively. So like watch out. I think they could potentially be a really popular pick to make the Final Four here.
Yeah, I think it just depends on style because it's gonna tell me they need to like somehow get like this week scares the shit out of me. The trap game tonight against a shitty Nebraska or Northwestern team, like they could sleepwalk through that rivalry. Who knows? Martinelli could go off for Northwestern. That scares me. And then Michigan, it's like Michigan State really gonna lose 3 games in a row, but not now because they're definitely gonna they were down by 10 with like 2 minutes to go. So I'm assuming they lost. Like, are they really gonna lose 3 games in a row? So now Saturday it scares the shit out of me. But if they can get through those, I think a lot. I got to see the Michigan game because early in the season we saw them play big physical athletic teams. They don't handle it well. That's their weakness because, like Collin said, they play slow. They aren't that. We'll see how much better they've gotten and how they handle how Michigan plays because Michigan is a SEC school in the Big Ten right now, and that's why when they play well, they kind of wax the floor with whoever they're playing because that's not how the Big Ten is made. So that would be my only fear going in. If they get like matched up with like I've seen some stuff like is Gonzaga is like the 3 seed, Illinois is the 2, like that situation, like fuck yeah, they're getting to the Elite Eight for sure, and we'll see if they can whatever. But like I don't know, they got to avoid these big physical. Like I don't want to. If Illinois gets a 2 or 3, I don't want to see one of the top SEC teams as the 2 or 3 on the same. Like that's just it does with how they've been the last few years and how this team was earlier in the year, like against UConn even. Big physical, Big East team, like they don't handle it well.
Hot take too before we move on to the final drive. I think Collin Boswell is going to come off the bench when he comes back for the first remaining, like whatever, however many games, 3, 4, 5 games. I think Mr. Jake Davis and his long hair are going to stay in the starting lineup. Like, of course, I think his minutes will stay down, but I don't know, man. It's nice having all those shooters out there. Bunch of white guys and Keaton Wagler pretty much right now. The itches and Wagler are in there.
Itcher come off the bench.
Yeah,
I think so. Fucking puts Stojakovic off on the bench.
Well, Mike, we're
not kidding. All he's out there for is defense right now, and Dylan's better than him. So like, there's like no difference.
He's pressing really hard. He is tough to watch when he has the ball in his hands. It's literally a turnover machine at the moment. But and this is like what 4 straight games of single digit points after he put a 30 pointer up against. I remember who it was, but yeah, we'll see. Going to be a fun month here of February, and then we get into March, and then Mike will join the conversation, and we can all talk college basketball and March Madness going in there. So
maybe I'll join the conversation next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm a little nervous about that one too. If Boswell's not back, just with the backcourt. I mean, obviously Illinois and the size and whatnot, and I don't know who the fuck's going to guard Keaton Wagler, but yeah, I think that would be an interesting matchup. If it was at the Kohl Center, I'd be nervous. Feel a lot better that's in Champaign for that one. So. Yes, we will certainly probably break that game down. I would imagine it's a 7 o'clock kickoff next Tuesday, so I'd assume we will record probably on a Wednesday and kind of break that game down and see how it goes. But okay,
it's on Peacock, so I won't be able to watch.
I hate that. Sometimes that's on if you have like YouTube TV. If there's like an NBC Sports Network channel. I don't know if you have YouTube TV. They put those games on there. I don't know if you know that.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I would check that out on Tuesday. At least all the games that I've had that's been on Peacock so far this year have been on the NBC Sports Network channel on YouTube TV on like the general plan or whatever you get. So
okay,
definitely look into that. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. The final drive, and that is of course going to be our Super Bowl picks. And breaking down the game just a little bit here of what we think is going to happen. Yes, there is still football happening, believe it or not, even though all these seasons have ended. The Seahawks, the Patriots. It's going to be an interesting one. So Riley is currently in the lead. So it's pretty simple. If he gets it correct, he wins. However, there is also Mike lurking 1 game back. If Riley would get it wrong and Mike would get it right, there'd be a tie for first. However, lurking even further back is Collin, who is out of the first place race, but Collin could also go opposite of Mike, go the same as Riley, and potentially Mike could finish in last place, or tied in last place, I guess, with Collin, or tied for second, however you want to like look into that. So a lot of things can happen here. So a lot of it comes down to what is Mike going to pick. So I don't even know how do we get this started. Do we make Riley go first as he is in the lead? See who he's going to pick, or do I go first since I'm in last? Mike, do you want to go last? Like how do we want to play this? Just are we going to give a little bit of drama and have all the difference? Are we all going to pick the same? I guess you're really the ball's in your court, Mike. A lot of it's up to you right now. So. Of course, none of this could matter if Riley just picks the correct one and doesn't care. So I'm fine with whatever.
I just don't want to go first.
I'll go first. I don't care. I know I talked myself into I'm gonna pick already. Like I've like watched all 22s and whatever. Like I've actually talked like there's nothing else going on. Like you said, there's nothing else. There's no football. Like I've had 2 weeks. Like I got bored at school a couple of times in my prep period. I'm like, fuck it, let's just watch these. So and I'm probably gonna be a shocker. I'm gonna pick the Patriots. Like just rewatching the Seahawks games, everything that they do that works, like other teams on defense, like go full dipshit mode. Like it feels like I'm watching the Packers and the Bears in the second half. Like that's how every team. And does that have something to do with the Seahawks? Obviously, yes. But like just that Rams game, and like 3 of their touchdowns, like the Rams literally just complete blown coverages. One right before half to JSN, they motion across the trips receivers. Like the fucking Rams don't even match it. They have 2 DBs over there. Like no shit, one of them's wide open, and they leave it to JSN of all people, wide open for a touchdown. I just don't think the Patriots are going to do that. I think they're really well coached. I think Christian Gonzalez can kind of follow JSN around, and I mean they'll do stuff in motion. They get him the ball obviously and get in certain situations. Um, I think it's going to come down to if the Seahawks can run the ball or not, and I don't think they can enough successfully against the Patriots with how the Patriots play. I think their defensive line is athletic enough to take away this outside zone, and their ends are coached well enough by Vrabel specifically because that's what he played, and he has made mention that he spent a lot of time with them. Um, I just I just don't see the Patriots beating themselves like other teams seem like they do against the Seahawks. Um, I think Drake May will run for his life, and he's athletic enough, and I don't think the Seahawks have played against a quarterback that is as athletic as him. I think he'll make enough plays with his legs, and just keep drives going. And yeah, for somehow, some way, I've talked myself, and I think that the Patriots will just not do anything to beat themselves, and they'll somehow win this game.
All right. There we go. That's the starter. Riley, if the Patriots win, he is the winner of both the regular season and the postseason, I believe, right? That's what he's kind of playing for right now, and at least in the pick 'em of the final drive. So, Mike, what do you want to do? Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
I'll go last.
Okay.
Take it away.
So I was thinking about this as well today. I think it's all going to come down to, like Riley said, if the Seahawks can run the football, because I feel like that's been a huge surge in the last stretch of the regular season and this postseason has been Kenneth Walker of like looking of the Kenneth Walker of old and just what he's been able to do and keeping them ahead of the sticks and letting Sam Darnold kind of play within the offense and get it to his playmakers. And you mentioned like the Patriots like front is really freaking good against the run. And I think Mike Vrabel's smart enough to know that's what the Seahawks are going to want to do, and he's going to take that away. And this might be finally we get the Sam Darnold game potentially that we've been waiting for how long? Like every single week that he's been with the Seahawks. So I'm going to do it because I don't know. I feel like the common pick is the Seahawks. I think the Patriots are going to win as well too, and I think it's going to. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but I think they're going to play a lot better than what people are expecting them because I think a lot of people are picking the Seahawks right now. Like I think I saw like ESPN, like all 9 of their analysts or something picked the Seahawks to win, and a couple other like networks and whatnots. But I'm also going to take the Patriots, regardless of what Riley was going to take. That's who I'm going to roll with as well. And I think Drake May has a big kind of coming out game to being a superstar in this one as well and gets a Super Bowl here and early in his career.
All right, so that leaves me. To me, everything says that the Seahawks, in my opinion, are the better team. I think they're better. They match up better offensively against England's defense. I think Seattle's defense is very good and matches up with New England's offense really well. We know that they're very good on special teams, especially with Rashid Shaheed back as a returner. They got a weapon back there. I feel like their offensive line, matches up well, I think, in my opinion, with New England's D line. So to me, everything screams Seattle here. But we know Super Bowls can be fluky. And something tells me the Patriots, they're going to make a game of this. They're going to hang around. It's going to be competitive. Might be low scoring. And I really wanted to pick the Patriots just because everything screams Seattle and the Patriots. I love Mike Vrabel. I think he coaches them really well, as you both have pointed out. So if I wanted to take the safe pick, kind of, and guarantee to not finish last, I would go Patriots. But I'm going to say screw that. I'm going to go for the tie for first, and I'm going to take Seattle, even though in my heart I'm kind of leaning Patriots, but I have to go opposite. So I'm taking Seattle.
Gotta have the drama. Gotta have the drama building up to it. Love that, Mike. Love it. All right. Well, I think it's all good. I went back and forth a little bit too because, like you mentioned, I think everything kind of on paper, when you don't watch the All 22 during, prep and class or whatnot, a lot of stuff probably screams Seahawks, at least like the eye-popping stuff. But it is Vrabel, and they do have a great defense. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. Halftime show, real quick. Any interest in that? Or are you, like, freaking going to get snacks or turn it off while Bad Bunny is going through all of that? Mike, I know you like performances at halftime and whatnot, and now it's the big one, the Super Bowl. Are you gonna be tuning into it?
Yeah, I'm just curious because I don't think I know one Bad Bunny song or anything like that. So I'm just curious to see like what it's gonna be like. So I'll watch just because I'm curious. But yeah.
And also to go to your point, I don't know if you guys watched the Stadium Series game earlier this week with the Lightning and the Bruins, which was fantastic, by the way. The Lightning coming back and winning 6-5. Tim McGraw played at the end of the first period in the first intermission. Sounded like shit.
Oh, really?
And I love Tim McGraw. Like, I don't know if it was just the acoustics and everything. He did not sound good. So that kind of, I guess, furthered your argument maybe of like, let's just stop doing that potentially, unless it's like the big ones. But yeah, fun game. I don't know if you watched that. Boston was up 5-1, and the Lightning came screaming back. Lightning were up 5-1, and I don't know. Now I'm getting all twisted.
Boston was up.
Yeah, Boston was up 5-1, and Lightning came back and won 6-5. So pretty massive comeback and win there. But all right. Well, I don't think there's been any Spotify comments since we haven't dropped an episode in a few weeks. I know Lucas commented a couple episodes ago, so appreciate that. We want all of our normal commenters to comment on this episode. Let us know what you think the Packers are going to do in their free agency and guys that they have under contract on 2026. What do you think about Jonathan Gannon and any and everything that we talked about, from the Goody presser to college basketball as it all heats up here, and your Super Bowl pick, of course. Are you guys going to place any bets? Any of the prop bets? Are you a big Super Bowl prop bet person, or just like anything in general when it comes to the big game?
So I usually do the national anthem with a buddy of mine. Haven't talked about it yet though. Been going over to his house for the last few years. They have a relatively newborn now, so don't know if he'll be hosting a Super Bowl party this year. Not sure what the plans are. See if we still do national anthem better or not. But that's usually the one that I always do. That's always fun for me.
I'll definitely bet the game, but I don't do any like the gimmicky prop stuff. So I would just lose, and it would just piss me off. Something I don't need to be pissed off about, so I just don't.
Oh, do we even know who's singing national anthem this year? Charlie Puth.
There you go.
Huh. Okay.
All right. Well, that will be this upcoming Sunday. We will break it all down next week's episode as well. Hopefully a good football game to wrap up this NFL season. But that is all we got for the Dairyland Drive podcast this week's episode. Keep giving us those 5-star reviews. Keep listening and sharing the Dairyland Drive podcast on Spotify, on Apple, YouTube, however you watch it. But as always, Collin, Mike, and Riley, thanks for sticking in there and listening each and every week. We really appreciate it, and we will see you in the next episode.
Go Pack, go.